Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Cristin, and as of today, I am 38 weeks pregnant. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to go ahead and do this as like a 37-week pregnancy update because I just wrapped up my 37 weeks. Just getting started on 38. So, but yeah, currently 38 weeks, or just starting 38. So, a little disclaimer before we get too far into this. I've got a touch of a cold coming on, courtesy of my toddler. Fun stuff to have right before having a baby, right? But I'm like slightly congested, throat's a little sore. So if I don't sound the best, you know why. Also, I'm 38 weeks pregnant. I got a baby all up in here. I'm not breathing the best at this point. So if I'm a little breathy, a little winded, that's why. But let's go ahead and get on into all of my pregnancy symptoms, my pregnancy update, everything that's been going on since my last pregnancy update, which I don't remember when that was. It's been a minute. So, like mentioning, I don't remember when I did my last update, so I'm not really sure what all you guys are aware of, what all has been going on. Not too long ago, probably about 4 weeks ago at this point, so you guys, it might have been in my last update, I'm not sure. They thought I was developing preeclampsia. They tested me for that. They tested my urine to make sure I didn't have proteins developing in it. Because what made my doctor think I might have been developing preeclampsia was because I was starting to have swelling in my fingers and in my feet, which is not uncommon at the end of pregnancy. But to couple with that, I was also having high blood pressure. And apparently all of those things can be the signs of preeclampsia developing. So they, wanted to make sure they tested my urine, which normally they, ask for a urine sample at every appointment. But my doctor's always been a little bit lenient with me because I've never had an issue. But when I had 2 appointments where I had high blood pressure plus talking about the swelling, she was like, make sure to leave me a sample. I gotta test that. Test came back just fine. So all it was that I was developing was high blood pressure. All that it was. So now I'm currently on high blood pressure medication. It is pregnancy related. The blood pressure medication is doing its job. It's all, in good levels now, so that's great. I've also noticed that anytime I get angry or frustrated, I don't feel like my blood is boiling, so it's kind of a nice side effect. I still have the swelling in my hands and my feet, and at this point I've stopped wearing my wedding and engagement ring just because they get really uncomfortable. Sometimes I don't have any swelling at all and I'm fine and I'll be wearing it, and then my fingers start to swell up and they get really tight and I get the red lines on my finger and it can be hard to get them off. So I was like, you know what, we're calling it quits. I probably haven't worn my ring for the last 2-ish weeks, which sucks because I love wearing my wedding ring, but I figure it's better to, call it quits while we're ahead, take it off, put it away, instead of running the risk of my hand swelling up and it getting stuck or something. So I'm currently not wearing any jewelry on fingers or toes. And my feet do swell up and my ankles, and it's a weird sensation, it's a weird feeling, especially when they're super swollen, because they kind of feel a little jiggly when I walk, which is a weird thing to say about my feet. But the skin on top, when I walk, if they're really swollen, jiggles a little. It's disgusting. But yeah, this pregnancy, I guess. Oddly enough, I did not have this with my first pregnancy. I didn't really have any swelling with my first pregnancy. Not until after I had my son. Then I swelled up like a balloon. But yeah, having swelling, and now I have high blood pressure. Most recently, at my, not last doctor's appointment, but I think 2 appointments ago, which I'm currently starting to go on a weekly basis. I was going monthly to start, and then bi-monthly, not bi-monthly, was monthly, then bi-weekly, now it's weekly. And 2 appointments ago, we determined that little man, I'm pregnant with another little boy, is breech. He is what they call feet breech. He's feet first. This is probably closer to 4 weeks ago because I had a growth scan ultrasound, because that's something that I forgot to mention. When you start taking your high blood pressure medication during pregnancy, at least the ones they prescribed to me, which is safe for pregnancy, it can cause the baby to grow bigger. Couple that with the fact that they've been like bouncing all over the place this whole pregnancy with my due date. They've switched me, I think, through 4 due dates at this point. And a lot of that's based on the fact that I was not tracking my cycle when I got pregnant. So like if you are not, if you're having unprotected sex or trying to get pregnant, track your cycle, because my husband and I just went at it with the method of like, if it happens, it happens, whatever. And like we were not paying attention to anything. So because I didn't know when my last cycle was, it kind of messed up their like guessing due date kind of a thing. So they've kind of bounced me around a lot. And they wanted to go ahead and do another growth scan. This was my 4th ultrasound in this pregnancy, and it was like the 3rd growth scan just to check the growth of the baby. And during that scan, we found that he was growing bigger. But my doctor thinks that that's more related to them being off on the due date, and she thinks that he's closer. It's a little confusing because I was thinking the first time that she told me that he was measuring bigger was that not so much to do with the medication, but more to do with the fact that they thought that he was closer to being due on the original due date that they gave me versus the one that was pushed back. But then this last time I asked for clarification, and she more or less made a comment about like, no, we're still going with your final due date, which is towards the end of the month, but he's just going to be a big baby, like kind of implying that he's growing larger. So I don't know. I'm a little fuzzy on all of that, but what we found out during that ultrasound is that he is breech, and he's going to be a big baby. He was already almost 5 pounds. He's like 4 point something over a month ago. So I'm guessing he's going to be somewhere around the 9 to 10 pound range. That's just me kind of doing the math here. I'm betting around 9 pounds. My first son was somewhere around the 8 pound mark. But we'll see. We'll find out in a couple of weeks how big he's going to be. I'm having a C-section, so I'm not really that worried about it. Also, my doctor said that having a bigger baby is not really an issue. You just have a bigger baby. So, you know, we'll see how long those newborn diapers we stocked up on last. So anyways, yeah, he's breech, and he's going to be a big baby. On top of that, most recently, I've developed what is called pregnancy-related carpal tunnel, and that is so much fun. I had no idea this was even a thing. Apparently, it's normal to have it happen around the 2nd trimester. Mine, thankfully, happened in the 3rd because it is not fun. And apparently, it's a very common thing. I brought it up to my doctor. Actually, I brought it up to the nurse at first, and because I was like kind of tentative about it because I had Googled the symptoms online, and I was like, you know, according to Google, this is what's going on. And they're like, oh yeah, that happens. Like spot on, no questions asked. You got carpal tunnel. And I have it in both arms. I have it the worst in my right arm, and I'll have it from shoulder blade to the tip of my finger. It normally comes on somewhere around 2 to 3 in the morning. My left arm is like a hit or a miss, and when it does flare up, it's like elbow to tip of my finger, and it does not last nearly as long, just a little while. I get my arm moving, and my left one normally clears up. My right arm, though, is just like in a constant state of discomfort, more or less. It's not constantly painful, but there's always a certain amount of numbness to it. Like even right now, I've got it's very mild. Like I still have full function of my arm. I can pick things up. I can do things. But there's just like a slight, and like right now it's kind of in spots like mostly right through here, a little in my hands, where it feels slightly numb, but it's not like super painful and it's not all over. But normally around 2 to 3 in the morning, it flares up, and it's like my whole arm just goes numb, nearly to the point of being painful. It's full of tingles, very, very uncomfortable. And what brings that on is swelling. It is from the swelling, and it causes, you got a bone or something called the carpal bone or something like that, and it's got nerve endings running through it. And when you have swelling, it puts pressure on that bone, which then puts pressure on the nerves, and then you got carpal tunnel. So thankfully that is something that should clear up after I have the baby within a couple of weeks. So it shouldn't be permanent. She said that if I developed it sooner in pregnancy, they probably would have sent me to physical therapy. But since I only have a couple of weeks left, it's kind of like a just suck it up kind of a situation. She mentioned in the middle of the night when it happens, since it seems to not really have much rhythm to it. I guess for some people it could be like based on what position you're in could cause it, and then you move and it can clear up. I've tried so many different sleeping positions in bed, and I still get it almost every night in my right arm. One thing I found that helps is just like raising my arm up. Like I'll be laying in bed and I'll just kind of prop it up behind me, and you know, kind of the same situation as if like you sprain your ankle and you want to prop it up like higher than your heart, you know, to like prevent swelling or help with swelling. Kind of the same situation, so I just prop my arm up, kind of not like straight up in the air, but like, you know, above my head a bit, above my heart, and that helps. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it doesn't, but yeah, that's kind of what's going on with that. And I could, like I said, it's like it's an all day, all the time thing. It's real bad in the middle of the night, and then it gets better progressively through the day, and then it's time to go to bed and start it all over again. So that's what's going on there. So, not sure what else there is to talk about for a 37-week pregnancy update, other than now I'm considered full term, so that means that if I was to go into labor, they would not stop it. They would take me right on in for my repeat C-section. My doctor said that if I do go into labor, it'll take about an hour to get me prepped and ready, and I'll be in there having the baby if my water breaks, if I start having consistent contractions, stuff like that. So that's just kind of what's going on. We're just kind of holding out, waiting for little man to either make his arrival or for my scheduled C-section date. So yeah, that is everything. So let's go ahead and do the belly shot. Okay guys, so here is my 28-week pregnant belly. I put that in quotations because it's day 1 of 28 weeks. We're like the very end of 27. I don't know. But here's my pregnant belly. You guys, I am ready to have my body back. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. So not sure how well it's showing because I have a dress on. Maybe that pulls a little bit tighter. Yeah, that's my big old pregnant belly. Hopefully it won't have to get much bigger than that. Baby will be coming out soon. Okay, so there's my 38-week pregnant belly. And that wraps up this video. That might even be my very last pregnancy update ever. I do have one more doctor's appointment this week. So we'll see if anything special is happening or not. But if there's anything to note on, I will go ahead and do an update. If there's not, then, you know, we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how things go. But I don't know that I'm going to do any more than 38-week updates. We'll see. So that's everything. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Hope you've enjoyed the series. If you guys want to see all of my pregnancy updates, I can leave a playlist down below. And thank you so much for following my pregnancy journey, and hopefully you want to continue watching me after I have my baby and I do postpartum updates and show you guys the baby and all that fun stuff. So yeah, make sure you hit the subscribe button to stick around, and I hope to catch you in my next video.